so that's recording as well. Okay. And you can still see can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can still see the screen.
Okay, so we are basically busy with the question paper. Okay, so I was busy explaining that a light pen is an input device. Remember, you get an output device as well, which then will be your data. Like, for instance, if you print something, that will be an output device. So the light pen is then E. Wi-Fi is obviously H. It's to access the internet from any hotspot at airports and coffee shops. Your mainframe is a type of computer that is a very powerful computer. It's normally used in big franchises like hotels and banks, etc. Okay, so that's going to be A. The right mouse button. Now, if you think of when you are using your mouse, you would obviously that is like almost you telling the computer what to do. Okay, so it's a most well, they normally say the keyboard is the most commonly used input device, so we can't use C. So basically we'll just have to go through the other ones. It's not J. It's definitely not. Okay, it's definitely keyboard is definitely the most commonly used input device. So that is definitely it. I'm just gonna pause on the right mouse button because I don't see one off by heart now that oh, here it is. It's used in Windows application programs to display shortcuts. When you go right click, then this is what you see. Okay. Electronic mail is obviously your programs to use to communicate via the internet to contacts worldwide. So that will be J. Software is obviously different from hardware. Hardware is everything that you can touch, like your printer, your keyboard, your mouse, etc. And then software is going to be a set of instructions that's written in a program. And then it's interpreted by the CPU. What is the CPU? It's your central processing unit, and it is also recognized as the brain and the heart of the computer. Okay? And then your control unit is well, you see now how you need to know your theory very very well, because if you go now down and you compare software to control unit, I misread B. It says determine the order of the execution of the program instructions. That is definitely then going to be the control unit because that is what it does. And then your keyboard is your most commonly used input device. Okay, just to quickly recall output devices, another example of an output device is your speakers, your screen, your monitor in front of you will also be one. Okay, let's quickly move over to question 2. They are telling you to indicate whether the following statements are true or false. A word processing program such as MS Access and database are used to keep records of information of students or library books. Well, they can use it, but it's not a word processing program. A word processing program is Word. A database program is MS Access, so that whole sentence is not well constructed, so it's false. Analog computers are used for mathematical calculations when accuracy is important. That is true. It's like a calculator. It only displays your figures as numbers. Hardware refers to all the physical components of the computer. That is also true because it's everything that you can touch. Backup files are identical copies of important files to prevent data loss. That's also true because that is what you do. You say you're going to back up your photos so that if you get into a fire and everything burns down, you've got your backup. No capital letters may be used in file names. That is incorrectly because if you see my file name there at the top has capital letters, it can be used, so that's false. The BIOS is the heart of the computer. That is not true. I just said to you in the beginning, the CPU is the heart of the computer. It's a central processing unit, so that is false. RAM is the acronym for random arithmetic memory. That is also false because we know it is called random access memory, not arithmetic. A computer is an electronic device. That is quite clear and simple. True. Data is stored in a binary format in the memory. That is true. Remember, I always explain to my students that a computer always or also use language. Okay, you get Java and C++. That is the language that the computer speaks. That's why our IT guys must be able to speak that type of programming language, and their language has an alphabet, and it only consists of a 1 and a 0, and that we call the binary alphabet or the binary format, which means one, either, or a 0. Okay? The mouse instead, so that's true. 2.9 is true. 2.10 says the mouse instead of directional keys can be used to move the cursor. Okay? That is true because obviously this is what's happening when you use the mouse. So that is true. The directional keys is obviously your up and down and left and right arrows. Okay, so for that, I am quite